and DT with Athletics Director of LeMoyne, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT. We are here with you getting set for the official moment of going into Division I. So the decision was obviously made. We got to break that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Thanks to Bob Beretta as well as Dr. Linda Lemura and everybody here at LeMoyne that gave me that opportunity. From there, July 1st, 2023 happened, and now this week, as we're talking with you on Wednesday, August 16th, tomorrow, Thursday, August 17th, in the afternoon at the University of Maine, we will officially see LeMoyne as a full member Division I institution in NCAA play, as the women's soccer team will take on the University of Maine Black Bears, the Dolphins, and the women's soccer team get to start it off. So with that being said, happy to start this off with you.
Yeah, really excited, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. So let's go there. Tomorrow, it officially begins. And so what are your thoughts on knowing that that's the moment and that the women's soccer team gets to usher us in?
I'm really excited, Dan. I'm really excited for the young ladies in the program. I'm excited for all of our student athletes. But more than anything else, I find myself this week reflecting on how grateful I am for the support here at LeMoyne. Yeah. And to get us to this point has been a heavy lift for many people outside of athletics. Certainly within athletics and our staff here, I have a tremendous debt of gratitude for the work that they've done, our coaches. But really, all elements of campus have pitched in to make this work. And I don't want to start naming factions because I'm sure I'll leave folks out. But this has been a true team effort to pull our student athletes back sooner than ever.
Yeah.
This is as early as we've ever had student athletes on campus before. And that was a lot of work involved there. And there's so many different factors, from meal support to the services provided by our food hospitality caterer, all the folks in student life. There's just so many people that I know. I'm going to leave so many out, but there's this overwhelming feeling of gratitude that I have for the community here that has coalesced at this moment in time to find us really on the brink of history, and it'll never change, right? The first event at the Division I level where all of our programs were Division I is going to be tomorrow afternoon when our women's soccer team kicks off against Maine, and I had the opportunity to talk to them yesterday out on the field, talk to them a little bit about their place in history, and to really just enjoy this moment, because very few of us have opportunities to go through life to really create history and be a part of history. Yeah. You've done so with your own business and done so exceedingly well. But for us in athletics, we don't get that opportunity many times. So this is a pretty cool moment. I want them to enjoy this.
Yeah, and you said you got to go out, and thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that very much, especially coming from you. The opportunity you had to speak with the women's soccer team, what was that like, and what was maybe a lasting message that you wanted them to know?
Yeah, I want them to know that there's a lot of support behind them, and I'm going to talk to all of our teams about this message. We're going to measure success a little bit differently this year. Yeah. It's not just going to be about wins and losses. It's going to be the process and how we progressing. This is a journey. And we talked to the women's soccer team about that yesterday. We're going to talk to all of our student athletes about that. This is a long play. We're in this for the long play. This is a journey. We're all part of this. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about the experience. It's about the grind. It's about how we embrace, how we really espouse our LeMoyne way culture throughout these challenges, because there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be adversity. There is in the best of seasons, but certainly when you reclassify Division II to Division I, there's going to be challenges along the way, and we're not immune to that, and we expect that. But we also feel like it's going to instill and inculcate these life lessons in our student athletes that are going to make them stronger leaders when they graduate LeMoyne and go out and become leaders in all sectors of society.
Yeah, and that's the excitement, because I get asked that in the community all the time, is how do you think this team's going to do? How do you think that team's going to do? And I said, listen, obviously going from Division II to Division I, there's going to be that time where you have to grow and you have to, figure things out. And it's even outside of that. When you switch a conference in general, regardless of division, you have to learn new opponents. So my thing is more of the entertainment value and the exposure, the teams that you're playing, the places you're going, the parts of the country, the value of those relationships, getting to go up against other Jesuit institutions. There's so much more than the win-loss column that I think is going to be such a great experience for the student athletes and the coaches and the fans. that I can't help but get excited, and there's ones that I've gotten to tell everybody, there's ones that I can't yet, but I promise you, no matter what the sport is, we're going to have some fun this year.
Yeah, we are, and it's something we talked about, Dan, during the course of the reclassification discernment process, that we were facing a 2-year sit-out period where we wouldn't be eligible for conference championships if it was the NEC. We weren't sure what that was going to be if it was a different conference. We also know that during the reclassification period, as we stand here today, that we are not eligible for NCAA championships during the course of that 4-year reclassification period. Hopefully it will change. So what we really focused on during our conversations dating back a year ago to our student athletes is, we're going to create a championship experience for you all on a daily basis, and it might not result in a championship. That's okay. We can still create championship moments, and I think we're doing that. I think we're delivering on that. Obviously, you broke the news yesterday of the Villanova men's basketball game. You also broke the news on our first game against Georgetown that we'll play. Those are championship experiences for us doing that. Those are lifetime memories that we're creating. You look at our volleyball schedule, and we have 2 unbelievable trips. Like, I would love to be aligned and have the opportunity to go on those trips. One is to Charleston, South Carolina. I've never been, but I've heard it's outstanding, and we're going to go down there and have a tremendous experience for our student athletes. And then we're going to Florida Gulf Coast for another tournament. And this is a program, to my knowledge, has never stepped on a plane before. They've never flown to a competition before. And so now they're going to have 2 championship experiences, right? So those are some examples of when I talk about championship experience, and some of our student athletes might have had some anxiousness when they were thinking about the transition. I said, listen, it's going to be different. The day-to-day is going to be very different. Last year, and this is not meant to be disparaging, but our men's soccer team opened up against Jefferson. This year they're opening up at Penn State. There's a big difference there, and that's just reality. So I think there's a big difference in the experience, and there's certainly a big difference in the memories that we're going to be able to create amongst our student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought it up, and I've been to Charleston, and when I went to Charleston at the time I went, they had the best new restaurant in the country. So, and it was Husk at the time. I also went to go eat at the Tattooed Moose, which is a great place to go to as well. A lot of great food down there, and Guy Fieri had actually chosen that place. So when you say Charleston, that's what I think about. And then when you say the Florida Gulf Coast opportunity, FAU's a part of that. And so obviously covering FAU in the American Athletic Conference, and knowing Brian White, these experiences, when you see the logos that are on the schedule, and you could go to any one of the teams, there's these incredible, awesome matchups. And I have to be thinking in my head, like, which ones can I not tell you yet? But there's so much fun that is going to be happening. Like you said, when you talk about, you might not win a championship, but you're going to have a championship experience in the transition. And people say, well, what does that mean? Well, for the student athletes, like you said, for volleyball to get on a plane for the first time ever as a team, all of these games and where they're being played, and going back to that Georgetown game, it's not just Georgetown, which is enough. But it's Ed Cooley's first game as the head coach of Georgetown, who's been at Providence forever. It's the Big East, which people in Syracuse know all about. And on top of that, it's on election night in the nation's capital in D.C. And then 2 days later, Philadelphia and Villanova, are you kidding me? So I get chills through my body, and I'm getting them right now, that when you look at it, that's what I tell people. I say, take this transition as a time to just enjoy the fact that LeMoyne is going to be playing brands of teams and places and opportunities where the student athletes are going to have an experience that they never had before at LeMoyne.
Yeah, and selfishly, Dan, I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to Charleston or Florida Gulf Coast, but I think something else that we discussed in great detail during the discernment process was the non-conference inventory at our disposal within a 3.5 hour drive. So I'm already looking at the schedule, and I like to get out and support our teams as much as I can. So I'll be going to Penn State, to watch our men's soccer team play here in a couple weeks. And I'll be going down to watch our women's soccer team play Binghamton. I'm hoping to get down to watch them play Iona next week. I couldn't get out to Maine. We have a leadership retreat here this week, and unable to get out there and watch them play, but I'm excited because I can get out and support our student athletes in the non-conference space against really quality opponents and outstanding venues.
Yeah.
So I'm a sports fan. At the crux of it all, I'm a sports fan. So I'm excited as a sports fan. I'm excited as a LeMoyne fan. I'm excited for our student athletes. I'm excited as if I was a student athlete, because I know I'd be really charged up to play in some of these competitions. So I'm really proud of our staff. And again, going back to the feeling of gratitude, it goes right back to our leadership, Dr. Lemura, Joe Grasso, our VP for Finance, our VPs that have supported us, because they've provided the resources to allow us to create these championship experiences. They didn't say, all right, we're going to go D1, and guess what? All your non-league games have to be within a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Like, we're working, trying to be very efficient with our funds, trying to secure guarantees that offset some of these costs. But for our volleyball team to hop on the plane and head down south twice within a month span, that's pretty exciting. And that doesn't happen without great alignment and without great support from leadership. And we have the best leader in the country in President Lemura, and our CFO values athletics in a way that I'm amazed how blessed we are to have that leadership in alignment for as we make this transition to Division I.
Yeah, if I'm Susan Kim, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I came to the Heights for sure for women's volleyball. And let's go to basketball for a second here. It's not only Georgetown and Villanova and two teams in the Big East, and obviously logos that people know in Central and Upstate New York. They're 2 days apart.
Yeah.
So the 7th, Tuesday, November 7th, Thursday, November 9th, nation's capital, Philadelphia, Georgetown, Villanova. I already told you I'm going. And so you talk about being a fan first, and you don't get into athletics as a director of athletics if you're not a fan of sports. And you don't become a sportscaster if I wasn't a fan first. So being a fan within 72 hours, wow. I mean, talk about bringing that together, having that happen, and just what that experience can be like. Because I have been very kind to everybody in my life to tell you, whatever you need and whatever's going on, I'll see you after the night, is what I said.
Yeah, you know, and for us, we also talked about the value of engagement opportunities. So I know that our advancement folks and our alumni group, we're planning events the night before those games to be able to engage with our fan base in DC in a way that we haven't been able to around one of LeMoyne's athletic events. That's huge. It happens to be election night in our nation's capital, so I think there's going to be some juice that night down in DC amongst our LeMoyne family. But this is what athletics provides. It provides that platform. It's what Division I athletics provides, because it really rallies, it galvanizes a fan base, it galvanizes the entire community. So people are really excited about getting together, and that's what we're about. We're about family. We're about bringing people together, inviting folks into our college, our athletic department. Maybe they want to be part of that through a philanthropic measure, or just to engage with us so that we have our network expanded and we're able to reach out to our alums and our fans and our followers. But be able to do that in DC and Philly in the same week, Division I athletics provides us that platform.
Yeah, and to go a little bit deeper, since we just got to break the story on Tuesday, August 15th here on Wake Up Call about Villanova, just specifically what that game you feel does for LeMoyne.
Yeah, again, I think who you matters plays. I mean, I should say who you play against really matters. So yeah, apologize for that. Who you play against really matters. It doesn't matter if it's men's basketball, baseball, softball, tennis, swimming. It's that brand association. So anytime we have the opportunity to align with elite brands such as Georgetown and Villanova, and there's several more to come on the men's basketball schedule. We broke the news of Army a few weeks ago. You broke that on our
when we were sitting in a very tough spot on the, like, not rooftop, but almost a rooftop there out at Tuscarora, where we just got to be in the sun after a fantastic day, and we're on the patio just talking about Army West Point. So.
But those are brands that are really important, and the other brands in the non-conference space that we're going to compete against, whether it's Binghamton or Canisius or Army or Cornell, and there's others, and we hope to be able to add Syracuse to that list in greater detail here in the future months, and I'm confident that we will, as we're able to find common dates to compete. Again, who you play against matters. It's brand association, it's that halo brand, and so it generates a great deal of excitement amongst our coaches, our student athletes, and our fans, And I think as we get into this competition now and we get closer and closer and closer, I think you can feel the excitement. It's palpable within our hallways.
Yeah.
And I think when you go out and talk to one of our teams and watch them train, there's a different intensity level watching our teams train right now because they know everything has been ratcheted up a notch or two.
Well, and that's the thing, like I literally underneath my suit, I'm getting chills, like on my arms talking about these games. And I don't get chills easily. It doesn't happen. So, and when you grow up in central New York and it's cold out, you don't even get chills. So when you get those and you feel that, it's my excitement because obviously I love LeMoyne. And I love being able to work with you and Dr. Linda Lemura and Pete DeLaura and the board and the student athletes and the coaches. There's so many great people here that you get excited for LeMoyne because you know the people behind it. And you know the competition level and what they ask of themselves and the educational side of it too. So as we move forward, you brought it up, when you're getting everything set with Penn State and men's soccer, you know, you got to talk to this person, I don't know if you know her, Julia Beretta, and, you know, having that conversation of, all right, what are we doing, what's going on, you know, how can we connect on the, you know, what feed is it going to be on? So when you're speaking with your daughter about the Penn State game for men's soccer, that to you has to be a very rewarding and unique experience.
Dan, I'm incredibly blessed. You know, my daughter Julia worked in the athletic communications office at Syracuse for a year, and it was my first year here at the Heights, and we were able to play a men's basketball exhibition game. And we got a picture together in the dome, and she was wearing orange, and I was wearing green, and we thought, like, this is super cool, and we may never have this opportunity again. Didn't know how long she would be at Syracuse, plus we were Division II. Syracuse is Division I, you don't compete against each other unless there's an exhibition or a scrimmage. So I felt like that was something that was a lifetime, once in a lifetime opportunity. And subsequently, my daughter, Julia, has moved on to Penn State, and she's in her second year now working in the communications office, athletic communications office with the Nittany Lions. And I've been out there several times since she took that job. Was out there a couple weeks ago, and she happens to be the men's soccer contact.
Yeah.
So when we knew the game was coming together, we were getting ready to release it, and we happened to be together the weekend before we announced it. And so I'm finding myself having to ask her, like, Julia, when are we releasing this game? You know, and so it's an interesting dynamic. My wife Jen, interested to see what sweatshirt she's going to wear to that game. I told her, I think already, that if she happens to be in the stands wearing Penn State, I may not be able to sit with her.
Yeah.
But I understand it's our only daughter, and we'll see. But that's, you know, I'm incredibly blessed to have that opportunity, and it's might not be once in a lifetime. You know, it might be multiple times in a season before this year's over.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing and a beautiful opportunity. I will say that wherever Bob sits, whoever's a fan of the other team always finds their way to be right next to Bob. So maybe your wife by accident will be wearing maybe that other color and ends up there. But as you get ready for that men's soccer game as well, we talk about the women being able to start off on the women's soccer side, full member Division I play of the entire college when they're at Maine tomorrow, but for the men to be at Penn State, just what that means, and to go a little bit deeper into what we've talked about before, and obviously breaking the news of Callum Donnelly going from being a student athlete and a competitor on the men's soccer field at LeMoyne to being a grad assistant to an assistant coach, and then carrying forward after Tom Bonus retired from the position, to see that Callum is going to be leading them and immediately have that opportunity against Penn State.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Callum to get this chance to lead. I've been able to watch several of his training sessions already. The young men on that team and in that program, they respond to Callum. They have great respect for him. He's an excellent technical tactician. Technical skill set is through the chart, off the charts, through the roof. A great leader. Like his opening meeting with the young men, I wasn't able to attend it, but I had some moles in the room, and they all reported that it was spectacular.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting great things from that program and how they respond. We felt like if we had stayed in the NE10 this year that we would be a top competitor for the championship. So we feel like the talent level is high. We have some young men that have matriculated through the program, are now a little bit older. We brought in some talented transfers. You know, we have had a heavy hand in the international scene where we are. once again and say, we're going to go in decided underdogs, and we're probably going to go in as decided underdogs in the majority of our competitions this year, but that's okay. That's not a bad place to be. You know, the bar of expectation maybe isn't high, but I will tell you, when we talked about creating championship experiences, our teams are going to go to compete for conference championships too. I mean, now that we have that ability to compete immediately, make no mistake about it, we're going to go in and compete hard. Every day, every competition, our goal is to win a conference championship. That could happen, it might not happen, but we're going to compete hard to achieve those goals. And if we fall short, it's not going to be for lack of effort, it's not going to be for lack of support. We know that already. And if we do fall short and we do it the right way and we compete hard, we have nothing to hang our heads about. And again, it's about creating that championship experience and building this foundation that there's going to be classes for years and years and years to come. They're going to look back at this as a very monumental year, a very historical year, and these 4 years of athletes that are currently in our program, they're trailblazers, and no one will ever be able to take that away from them.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens on the fields, courts, tracks, and pools at LeMoyne and on the road with LeMoyne College athletics, it's all history. It's all going to be a first. And every student athlete, I hope you enjoy that. Every coach, I hope you enjoy that. And, you know, obviously for you, Bob, and for everyone in athletics to enjoy that, I'm going to enjoy it. I know Dr. Linda Lemira has never been shy from showing her energy and her positivity. Basically, this is how it goes. If Linda is the only fan in the stands for you, you got about 1,000 people in the stands. So before we wrap up here, there's a couple things that are going on. I want to say this to Callum, so I hope you're watching. The fact that ever since he told me about his home Edinburgh, I have seen it all over the place. It's been on like TV shows and movies. So I just want you to know, for whatever reason, it's following me now. But on September 17th, which my first 2 dogs that I ever had in my life that were 3 years old when I was born, so Mordu and Cinnamon, that's their birthday. So I always celebrate their birthday on September 17th. And also on September 17th, which is a Sunday, we have our Fall Phins Phrenzy, which is going to be right here at 10 Grant Field. It's the only doubleheader that we're going to have at home this season for men's and women's soccer. So just bring us into that, and the fact that obviously concession-wise, bathroom-wise, we're doing a lot to create that experience for fans, for student athletes, for students, and for people in general in the community. So there's a lot of greats around this Fall Phins Phrenzy, and it'll be the first Phins Phrenzy of the entire 2023-24 academic year.
It is, and we're really excited about that. And it's our only, as you stated, our only men's and women's soccer doubleheader of the year. We're also going to be holding a ribbon cutting ceremony for our concession and restroom facility. And again, that's important to us. That's how we service our community, and that matters. That matters a lot. Visitors, our fans, our customers, our clients, that however you want to term them, people that we value greatly that come support our teams, we want to provide them comfort and leisure, and I think that this facility will do that in terms of its restroom space, in terms of concession availability now. A cold day in the spring, they want to grab a cup of hot chocolate or coffee, they can do that. You know, we don't have to worry about fans walking out of the stadium and maybe not coming back because they used the restrooms and just decided to go back to their car. So they sound like small things, but they're really big things. And to do it around our first Division I Phins Phrenzy, pretty excited about that. You know, we'll roll out the details of that. I have our marketing team already looking at how we're going to do that, but it'll hopefully feature some youth teams, some in-game competitions, some post-game autograph sessions. We're working on a concept for a T-shirt giveaway that would be, if we pull this off, it'll be a T-shirt that everyone's going to want. And so just a lot of excitement around it, but again, all for the benefit of hopefully generating a lot of excitement for our student athletes to go out there, and hopefully they're able to register a couple victories out on the pitch that day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already thinking about it. It's funny you said T-shirts, because I'm already thinking in my head a T-shirt that has the concession stand on it and says on the back, "Where were you when it happened?" That'd be kind of cool. So definitely excited for what's to come, and so many great things to be happy for, as well as, you know, just giving a big time shout out to women's soccer, and congratulations on this opportunity that you have to kick off LeMoyne as a fully fledged Division I institution for the first time ever, to the men's soccer team that'll be at Penn State, like we said, to Villanova being announced, to the Fall Phins Phrenzy for men's and women's soccer on Sunday, September 17th. final word before we wrap up today.
Yeah, thank you again, Dan. You know, I talked about our gratitude and for you to be here to trumpet this and amplify our message along the way, and really provide that insight to our fans that no one else does. So thank you. You're part of that umbrella of gratitude that I feel, not only for our leadership, and our colleagues here on campus, but to you for being able to chronicle history in a way that no one else can. So thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah.
It means more to me than you know.
Yeah, thank you.
We got to say it like we always say it. Fins up.
Fins up.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
We'll see you all on the pitch very soon.